Oh, everyone's doing good on our end. And
Sweet.
we are
Live.
live.
Live. Yeah,
It is 7:00. This is the best
it
experience.
is.
Thank you guys for
Mhm.
tuning in.
Yep.
We appreciate it. And just for those who are joining us now, the Patreon, when you join, you know what I'm saying? We got 2 tiers.
Hmm.
If you join a tier, you get to ask a question and Nick will answer it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Oh, one of the other things we like to do too is, when new members come in, we
Read
get a
their
new
name.
a new member in. We mention them at the beginning of the podcast, and a little bit of recognition from us because we appreciate it. And then after that, we really go into questions that we get submitted. So we got a question in this week too, and a new
Yep.
member.
Yeah. So Tashinara, Tashinari, hopefully I pronounced that right. Lynn, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Question one regarding your last response. There's still some parts I don't quite understand when it comes to fake news. We can choose to block it, but how can we protect those who may not be aware and could be misled? We protect those that can be misled by talking to them and having discussions
Mhm.
with people. Education is always how you protect against false information and talking to people and explaining your side of view. A lot of these people don't like to be confronted. They get very combative, and when they are faced with, well, why do you hate this or why do you not like this and stuff like that, and give me one example, and they usually can't. It's because they're basically brainwashed or programmed to be that way. So you just stay calm. You talk to them. Just be like, look, this is your opinion. This is what it explain your point of view. This is what I see from where I stand. Now, if you have something different, enlighten me and we can talk about it. The biggest crime in it is not talking with other people about these things. I mean, if people share their points of view on things and people know where each other is coming from, there's a lot less fear that can be spread by the media, which is, which is the biggest problem with the media is they're more propaganda machines now than they are really true news. News is to be honest, fair, and impartial. And tell people that your news is supposed to be honest, fair, and impartial. Is your news impartial? There's almost no news broadcast anymore that's impartial. Almost none.
Yeah,
So
that is
point
the
that out to
truth.
people. So are they honest? Well, are they telling the whole truth or half truths? If it's a half truth, that's not honest. And are they fair? Do they tell both sides of the story? If it's only a one-sided story and there's two halves of the story, they're not fair. You're supposed to cover both sides of an issue, and let both sides have a say and let the information. People are supposed to decide on their own. That's what the news was supposed to be for. Is they just reported news, not reported feelings, not talked about, not try to get you engage your
Yeah.
feelings, but report facts and report
Yes.
actual things,
True
and then
events.
let you decide, because we're supposed to be smart enough. Somewhere the media has decided that we're not smart enough to decide these things on our own, and that is
Yeah.
completely false. So when you do see people, the media out there and stuff like that, start asking them questions. Do you not think we're smart enough to decide these things on our own? And how come you're not
Exactly.
honest, fair, and impartial?
Yeah.
And hold them to it. Question them. So I mean, that's kind of going to be the way. It's like educating people and pointing out things and learning from their side and what they're being told, to be like, well, that's just, certain things are just not the case.
Yeah.
These things didn't happen. These things did happen. Explain this. Explain your side of it, and
And that's
try
the
to
truth.
communicate with people better. That's all, and be
and,
tolerant.
and manipulating that information to make it seem like good or bad. It's like, no, just report the facts and
Yeah,
understand what the facts are.
right. And report the facts. But the problem is Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock own 88% of all stock, including the media.
Yep.
So they put people in place from the top down. That's how they got control of everything. And then
Mm-hmm.
these people hire people with their points of view, which is why the news is so bad. And that's why the information is so bad. Is you're not
Exactly.
hiring journalists anymore. You're hiring people that'll do what they're told on camera.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's so crazy how like the news is, like you have right wing and left wing news now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're clearly labeled, and it's like
And
now you only get fed what you want and not what the evening news used to be.
correct. So you should watch the other side and see what they're trying to say. I mean, both sides should always be paying attention to both sides, because there's a little
Yeah.
truth in everything, and there's there's a little lie in everything. So even the side that
Yep.
you would look after, they're not exactly truthful either. There's tons of stuff, on the liberal side, and there's tons of stuff on the conservative side that, they're trying to pit us constantly against each other in everything that we do. There's no news that's trying to bring people together.
And
That's a
well, one
problem.
thing the news seems is like it's trying to incite violence in both sides at all
Right,
times. It's like,
at all
man,
times.
what's the Yeah,
Well,
like
and
what's the
then we
purpose
got
of this here?
politicians now that are, we have to get out there and fight. It's like, you're inciting violence. No, it's like,
Yeah,
we need to talk about these things. We need to hash these things out. We need to meet. We need to talk. We need to discuss. We need to
yeah,
educate each other to each other's point of view, not fight behind this and fight behind that. They inspire a lot of this stuff that's going on, and
exactly.
it's not good.
No, it's not good at all. They're inspiring this violence and then condemning the other side for
Oh
the exact
yeah,
same thing that they're doing. And it's like, you
yeah.
know
That's
what?
the other thing.
Yeah, it's like, what happened to actual, fair, partial, and let's do what's best for
Right,
everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because there's
right.
going to be concessions on both sides, but it's supposed to
Hmm.
come down to what's best for everybody.
Well, it's pretty clear there's things that need to change in our political system, just all the way
Yeah,
around. And I think Congress people should get paid what the median income is. I saw this on another thing, and I completely
yeah,
agree with it. People in Congress should get paid what their median income is for where they live.
yeah.
That's what
They
they should
shouldn't
get
be getting
paid.
pocketed. They shouldn't be
And
pocketing money.
when they retire, okay, when they leave Congress, I'm okay with them keeping their medical benefits. But why do they keep getting paid the same amount of money?
Yeah,
They shouldn't be. You're done working for us. You were
exactly.
supposed to be serving us, not ingratiating yourself for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So I mean, it's a thing you served. You get a bonus you can keep your medical coverage, which I think also our politicians should have the exact same medical coverage as our military
Well,
and
hey,
our veterans.
right off top, yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
they should have to jump through the same loopholes that they have to get any kind
Oh
of
yeah.
coverage.
Because the
You know?
nursing at the VA is way better. I can tell you that
Yeah,
right now. The nursing's better than it is in public, because their head count's different. The number of
yeah,
patients that they have at one time is vastly different from where it is out in regular hospitals. But the
yep,
doctors are not, because they don't make as much, and that's not right. And they don't have the opportunity to make as much. So, the VA that's here in Las Vegas, is a beautiful building, and it's stacked with everything except for their emergency room can't take emergencies. They transfer everybody to UMC and stuff like that. Why does the government run hospital need to transfer any veteran out of it?
yep,
Why? So it's kind of stuff like that that just doesn't make any sense. They should have enough good doctors there where they never have to do stuff like that. And these are the problems with the politicians that need to be addressed. And you do that
yeah,
through education, and you
yep,
do that from speaking with people and talking with them. And they do now try to stifle our voices.
yeah,
They do meetings on private property, not in public places anymore. Our politicians should be required to have all their campaign stuff done on government property, where we can all go and
yeah,
voice our opinion to them, even the ones we like and the ones we don't like. We can go, except for, you don't do it in a bad way. You just ask questions of them,
yep,
plain and simple. You just be like, okay, well, why is 80% of our medical costs administration, and then our copay is 10 and 20%? Politicians need to answer to this, because if our copay is 20% and the amount the doctors make is 20%, aren't we already paying for our own medical? What do we need
yep,
all the rest of the stuff in the first place for? I mean, it's all just a profit machine. Is Because I mean, if it's what our copay is, we can all pay for that ourselves, and
yeah.
then we don't need any of the other stuff. So it's things like that that need to get looked at and addressed. It really does.
That definitely
So
does.
it would be beneficial, because to reinstate the FCC fairness doctrine,
Yeah,
which required news to be honest, fair, or impartial, you could lose your broadcast license. It
yep,
needs to be updated to include all forms of social media, all forms of internet Anybody who's going to report anything calling it news or media
Yep.
needs to be held to honest, fair, and impartial. You
Exactly.
know, the government, our congressmen and our senators and our politicians, at all levels, not only should they have to take the oath of office, they should be sworn into office. And if they
Yes.
lie to us, be removed from perjury.
Yeah.
And all their benefits, all their pay, everything done, cut off, gone. And that's it, because they serve us. They're supposed to be serving us, and they're not doing it. And this is part of the problem, that we have, is they serve special interest groups. They serve whoever's in the super PAC. They serve the NGOs. That's also something that needs to be addressed, because so much money's just being laundered through
Yeah.
NGOs, and the money's not getting where it needs to go. I
That's
mean,
it.
you put $100 million in the charity that they did for the fires in Southern
Yeah.
California,
Palisades. Yep.
Palisades. They raised $100 million for that, and they divvied all that out to NGOs, and none of it made
Yep.
to the residents.
Exactly.
$100 million. You know
Exactly.
how much stuff they could have
Yep.
did with that for those people? And they
Yeah.
literally did nothing. It all went
Did
to
nothing.
NGOs, and poof, it was gone. That's
Yeah. And
fraud,
not,
by the way.
yeah, that
That's
is fraud.
fraud.
And even that, like all that money that was made could have went to all the help that they needed for these people to just restart their homes, as in
Oh
like,
yeah,
hey, pay for the cleanup. And then guess what? If that would have happened, guess what? Like a lot of these people would have been able to actually be rebuilding their homes right now.
right. But the biggest way that we're going to get this is to communicate to one another, not
Yeah.
to just take your side and you stand on your side, and this one takes their side and stands on the other side. The best way we're going to do it. So if you're liberal, or if you're a conservative, or whatever else in between,
Mm-hmm.
the only way it's going to get fixed is if we talk to each other.
Yeah.
And we start reestablishing a common truth in this country and throughout the world. The news used to be a common truth. It really did.
Yeah.
And it is not anymore.
Not no more.
So you turn on one country's news and you turn on this country's news. The BBC just got busted for, messing with some of the Trump videos and doctoring them,
Yep.
to make it look a certain way. And everybody at the BBC that did that should have been terminated. And
Yep.
if that came from the top position, they should also be terminated. And their retirements and everything else from that should be stripped from them.
Yep.
It's that big of a deal. It truly is. So anyway, I'm getting off my soapbox on this. So, because I go on for this for another hour.
Yeah. Well, that was a good question, and it's a good spot for us to pivot.
So like I said, don't just necessarily block the stuff.
Yeah.
But like the stuff that's coming in that you don't want to see, that's fine. But when you have the opportunity to speak with other people that are like that, that's where things change. That's where it really does. It's just speak to people from a good place, not to cause any harm. And if you disagree, it's okay to agree to disagree. There's nothing wrong with agreeing to disagree with people. There's nothing wrong with that on either side. But at least they know what you think. At least they know where you stand. At least they know what you're after.
Yep.
So there's plenty of there's much more good things that'll come from talking with one another than standing there and just being angry all the time. So
yeah.
Okay, that's all I got to say about that.
Well, like I said, world's strongest man 2026 is
coming
here.
Up. Mm-hmm.
And it's coming up at the end of 2 more weeks. And with that happening, let's get some insight to the people that are listening and the people that are watching. And when I mean insight, a lot of times, on the professional level and on the high level, you got to keep your strategy. You got to keep your training. You got to keep your prep close to the chest. You know what I'm saying? You could speak on, talk a little bit, share on, training clips, you know what I'm saying? But you're not showing the best clips. And you're not laying out like prep, food, feelings, emotions, and then also too, when you get the events, how to strategize for the events, how to prepare yourself for the events, and then just a complete breakdown. So We was talking with Nick, and guess what? Let's just lay us out a blueprint plan of what you would do from the moment you were invited to, getting to World's Strongest Man. Like, what would you do
All right.
once you got the invitation and then got the events, and then okay,
Mhm.
now you have the time.
Okay. Well, once you get invited, depending on how much time you get from that, I would basically first need the events.
Yeah,
So once you have the events, you can start kind of develop in what order they're going to go into. What's going to be the events on the first day and what order they're going to run. What's the events the second day, what order they're going to run. If you make the finals, what's the first three events that day, and what are the next events on
yeah,
on the last day on the finals. So first, you got to find out what all those are. Once you do, then you can start strategizing. You're going to have to be in good shape because you got 4 days to compete. So
yeah,
I mean, probably the last 6 weeks for sure, I would be doing basically like lighter, but I would be going through the whole entire contest. My
yeah,
body's going to be used to at that point functioning that way. And yeah, people are going to say, "Oh, you're going to get overbeat up. You're going to get this. You're going to get that." I don't know. I did it 10 times. It worked pretty good for me. So I
yeah,
would set my things up like I would train in the order I'm doing the contest for. So, if you got a medley first where you're doing a farmer's walk into uh, uh, power
power
stairs.
stairs.
Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Um, in the power stairs, that's the first thing I train.
Yeah,
That's what I train first. And I do not have the events in front of me right at this moment. I've um but yeah, so I would do that first, and then whatever the second event is, I would do that event. And I would start, lighter than contest weight, and probably the last 3 weeks or last
yeah,
from about the last month on for 3 weeks there, I would probably the first two of those weeks of the last month, I would do it at full weight. And then the third week I do probably three quarters of it. And then the last week, I'd probably do a quarter of it and then do other things, mobility work, stretching, because you want to be healed up all the way. You want to be in shape, but you also want to be healed up all the way and ready to go. So whoever
yeah,
comes into that contest the most healed up and ready to go, that they're also in great strongman shape, not physical shape. You don't have to be able to go out and run like a mile or 2 miles or stuff like that. You have to be in strongman shape. That means being able to turn it on and turn it off that day and go give it everything you got, and then still be able to recover from it and come back 2 days later and do a similar events, because there's going to be some events that are very similar to the qualifying heats. And so you got to understand that the deadlift, you got to squat in the qualifying heats, and you got deadlifts in the finals. So that'll be good. That'll save somebody's back. That'll do stuff like that. But it all goes together. So we train it that way. It's just that plain and simple. And once you get to contests, it's one set, or once you get to that type of training, you don't need to you can work on technique. You should be working on technique all year round anyway, and do like a 3 week rotation where you do nearly all the events. So 1 week you do axle press, the next week you do log press, the next week, you do Viking press in training.
yeah.
And then the week after that, you do dumbbells. So
And
you
I
do
just
that
found
all.
the events for us too.
Okay, cool. So what's the second event?
The second event is overhead circus medley.
Right. So one, I would develop a strategy with those dumbbells and find out what the rules are. Because if you don't have to set it on your shoulder, the first two dumbbells, if you're really good at clean and fast and can remove
Yeah,
your hand, like you power it up here and you remove your hand here, you might be able
yeah,
to catch it and throw it all the way up overhead with one hand. That's
yeah,
going to save a lot of time. You almost like snatch grip it,
yeah,
and then the last one, bring it up, set it, pop it. Okay, now you're done. You probably just saved 2 or 3 seconds. Then you get to the barbell, and you sit there and you
yeah,
clean it, press it. You might want to get used to training where you're getting ready for that with an Olympic lifting bar or a really whippy deadlift bar,
yeah,
because the barbells that they have, they're not on axles. They're really
yeah,
spongy. They wobble
yeah.
around. That's going to throw people off, and I think they don't rotate either, if I recall.
Okay.
So they're going to be whippy and the bar is not going to rotate. So you're going to have to catch it and you're going to be oscillating,
Yeah.
and then you're going to press it up overhead. I remember watching him do that in China. It was crazy. But but it's like I would train with a deadlift bar and do that and put really tight collars on it so it didn't rotate.
Yeah.
And I would use the wagon wheels and stuff like that if you can get your hands on those.
Yeah.
Or just put it, on a higher box, that
Yeah.
type of stuff. But
Much higher pick.
yeah, it's the pick's going to be like a 15-inch pick or so. So I put it up on like a 6-inch whatchamacallit box, jerk box.
Yeah.
I put it, and train with her that way and go back and forth with it that way, doing as many reps, working on catching it, bouncing it, catching it, bouncing it, and get into the rhythm with it and get into a steady rhythm. And then once you get in that rhythm, you stick in that rhythm till you can't. And then step back, take a breath, do a few more, because you'll have a decent time limit on that. And then do whatever more reps you got in you. But that's how I go after that one. So third event
is squat for reps.
Squat for reps. Yeah, that one's just going to be kind of crazy. If they do the old steel ones, like the ones I'm used to, you come down, you touch, but you can't really bang it because it'll come off your back. If they go with the new pads that they have, you can actually tap those on there. It won't take the bar off your back. I would definitely. You see Martins doing it on like belts.
Yeah.
On the cloth.
Yeah, the safety belts.
That are on that thing. That's probably a pretty good idea because Martins was pretty good at that. I would also look at the other competitors that were good at that event in the past, like Martins was real good at that. And then you're allowed to wear a squat suit. So I would wear a squat suit, but I would probably not make the straps real tight, just the bottoms snug, but not the straps, real tight, because you need to breathe during those things.
Yeah. Yes.
And then know what the time limit is. If there's a 60-second time limit, know it. If there's not, because in the past there was no time limit. Once you lifted the bar off and got the squat command, it was just however many you could do till you dropped it or racked it. But in 17, they had a time limit. Nobody was ready for that. So pay attention to the rules. Big thing is pay attention to the rules and look for wiggle room. And if you find something, good God, don't say anything in the rules meeting. Just wait till you get out there. Be like, it's not in the rules. I got the official rules. They're signed right here by you.
That's it. It wasn't discussed.
So I can do it this year. And of course, next year there'll be a rule for that.
Yeah.
But that's next year. So go through the rules. Find anything that you could possibly do to create some type of advantage for yourself, or just know the rules really well. That'll also give you a big advantage because a lot of guys don't pay attention to the rules that much.
That's it.
So the squat, I'd probably start with training like if I was going to do it 12 weeks out, I'd probably do at least 2 weeks of squatting 500 for 20.
Yeah.
And do that, getting it down to the depth and stuff like that. Then I'd slowly increase the weight and then just keep doing as many reps as I can with that as the weight increased.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I did. But last time I had the squat in my heat, I had just squatted like 870 a month before at the US Open. So I just figured out a way to hold the bar on my hands and be able to low bar, hold it low bar and still hold on to it and not drop it. And that was a pretty big deal. The grass kind of threw me off, having the soft floor when we were there in Africa. So just be aware of that when you're training. It probably wouldn't hurt to have, I don't know, a platform that has a little bit of give in it that'll help make you work on that balance thing. So if your feet are moving, that type of thing every once in a while, so you get used to handling big weight that way, because it makes a difference.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I do those things for the squat.
All right. Truck pull is next.
Yeah, truck pull. I would train truck pull 2 different ways. 1 week I would pull it for the heaviest truck possible that I could pull the distance in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
The next week, I would train a truck pull to make it as fast as I could make it way lighter, and to just do it as fast as I can. Because one year they have a very heavy bus pull where they let a ton of the air out of the tires, and that thing takes like, it would take Sojournus and these guys, 56 seconds to pull it out of the 60. Or like when they did Malaysia, they did a semi truck with a trailer, but it had like 30 tires on it. And it
Yeah.
with all that friction on the ground, I think only one person pulled it the whole distance.
Yeah.
And everybody else just got to measure. It's pulling something that heavy one week and then pulling something light for speed. Because, like I said, you need to be able to adapt to whatever they throw at you game day, and things
Yeah.
do change. With that, so just be ready for both sides of those.
Yep.
Next event.
Next event. Yeah. This is the last one for the
Also,
events
make
and the
sure you got
heats.
rock climbing shoes,
Yeah. Oh,
or
there you go.
a wider type of rock climbing shoe with the same material. Get a good wide pair of shoes and have them treaded with the rock climbing material. That'll also
Yeah.
help, because instead of having the small one for the rock climbing shoes, you'll get a wider one. That'll give you more grip. So
There you go.
that's my 2 cents on that. All right, next one.
It's the natural stone melody.
The natural stone medley. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
all you can do is go down to a river somewhere and start pulling out natural stones. I would probably
You
wear.
know, I see do it all the time is Higa. Higa's always posted videos of him down by the water. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Picking up stones, just random stones.
yeah, it's stuff like that. But you're gonna have to do a medley. So
Yeah.
and there's like some where it's to the shoulder. There's some where you pick it up. I would find out what the weights of those stones are and go find
Mm.
something that's similar in design as best you can, and then
Yeah.
go do the events like that as you're training through them. So like the one to shoulder, go find something that's that size and shoulder. I would find like neoprene sleeves to go on your forearms,
There you go.
and then for your stomach, you're allowed to, I think, to wear the grip shirts underneath your shirt. I would
Yeah.
definitely do that. I'd also try to make sure I put on a fresh shirt before I go out there and make sure it's dry, because you're
Yeah.
going to be pretty hot and sweaty before you get out there. That'll help
Yep.
the stone stick to the shirt a little bit. So little tricks like that, and then chalk your belly, and then chalk the shirt on. Put your shirt down, and then chalk the shirt on top of that, so you get chalk on both to keep the shirt from sliding around. I think that'll help a
Yeah.
lot. Or even take the tacky towels and put that all over your chest, and then
Yeah.
put your shirt on so it'll stick to it a little better, and then tacky towel your shirt, and then chalk your shirt.
There you go.
Those are all things you could probably do that are legal, that'll help you stick when you do that. And then if you're
Exactly.
allowed to use gloves in that medley, by all means, go find those blue rubber gloves that
Yep.
just stick to everything. It'll help you on your pick. It'll help like on all of it, going through that. You'll be able to just jam your fingers in there and yank it up and not worry about catching a fingernail or, doing something like that. So
Yeah.
those little things will make a big difference. And, have a belt on, use your belt, catch the stone in the belt and pop the belt, pop the stone with your hips. Stuff
Yep.
like that will make a big difference. So last one in the qualifying heat.
No, that was Stone
Oh,
Melody.
was that
The
the last
Natural
one?
Stone Melody was the last one for the qualifying,
Okay.
because
They're
now
only
we're
doing
going into
5.
the
Cool.
finals. So
Yeah.
the first one's the Knack Melody. You know what I'm saying? Knack's been
Medley.
with
Yeah.
for a while. And
Yeah.
the last couple of ones have been very interesting. Last year, remember it was the Knack pool where they had to hoist the Knack up in the with the rope pool.
That was actually really good. I kind of thought they should have kept that,
I thought so too.
for this year too. The Knack yoke is pretty cool. I got no issues or problems with that. That was a pretty neat event. That would be one that I would have loved to have done back in the day. But I don't know about the medley part of it. I saw a picture of what these boxes are that they're supposed to flip, and I have questions on how exactly safe it is, if that makes any sense. Because it's the boxes put together and it makes a square, and there's 2-inch axles, at a certain height that come out of there. And you got to
Yeah.
grab the 2-inch axle and pick it up and flip the box over. So you can only make that so heavy, because if somebody loses their grip on that and that thing comes back down, that bar that's up here is going to end up, if they drop it and they stand up, if it slips out of their hand and they stand up, that bar could hit somebody dead in the face.
Yeah.
But maybe it won't. I don't know. I didn't design the thing. I just saw one video of what I was told it is. So if that's what it is, yeah, good luck, guys.
Yeah. Those are the things that when you get thrown at you, you're like, okay, this is awkward, different, and but you got that strong man.
Yeah, well, that one could end up being worse than Thor's hammer if it goes wrong. Because I mean, if you pick that up and you don't get past that point and it slips out of your hand, because it's 2 inches.
Yeah.
If it slips out of your hand and that thing drops down, that other bar is still up here. Yeah, and you're forwards at all.
Yeah.
But hey, what do I know?
Yep. Next event, Max Log. So we just had Trey Mitchell on, and we talked about how much we're looking forward to watching him do this event.
Okay, so here's the thing with the Max Log. If I was getting ready for the Max Log and I was a great log presser like Trey or Mitchell or Andre or a lot of these guys, Andrade.
Yeah.
I would go back and watch their attempts and the weights on the attempts, because all the attempts that they're going to have are pretty well set. If they didn't give them what those numbers are, they'll give it to them when they get there. But they'll have these set weights all the way up to a point, and then they get together and discuss what the next attempts are.
Yeah.
So therefore, I would make sure I probably took 4 attempts working up to that, because I think that's about what it is.
Yeah.
And then understand you might have to take a 10-kilo jump, a 10-kilo jump, and then a 15-kilo jump.
Yeah.
You never going to know how they play that out. But so that's one where you just you do what the 4 attempts are, and then you just get ready to handle whatever comes your way after that. And so training wise, I'd probably do a couple 10-kilo jumps in there and then throw a bigger jump in just to see what's what, because I've seen that happen. That's kind of how I train for it.
Okay. Well, we got the Titan Toss, which is new from last year and transferring to this year.
Yeah, that one's pretty simple. Go do the toss. I mean, set the bar at the 12 feet, and they already know all the distances, stuff like that. There's not a whole lot that's going to change with that. That's going to be the exact same event it was last year. So if you knew how to train for it last year, train for that way this year. If you're new to World's Strongest Man, basically that one's just go out and find a way to do it efficiently. Go through the weights, go through the times, and then start working. Take a lighter one and just or maybe not a lighter one, but take a lighter one. And so maybe it's 40, 45 pounds, and work on distance and just getting max distance. And then when you get the heavy, and then when you get to that weight, just send them flying.
Yep.
So
that's it. After that, we got deadlift for reps.
Yeah, this is going to be like they can pick. I think it's $799 and $881 are the two, and any one rep with $881 will beat Trump's $799.
Yeah.
So unless you're a really bad deadlifter and are at World's Strongest Man, which they guys like that get in, they're good at everything else, which is fine. If you can pull over 400 kilos, that's where you go. You start there.
Yeah.
Because any one rep will do that. I quite possibly think it depends on the position that a couple of the guys are in when they get to that in the finals.
Yeah.
I think if somebody's very far ahead at that point, when they get to it, they'll just pull what they need to and be strategic with the points. I think if somebody needs to make up ground, we could see a new record with that. I've seen 2 guys pull that 5 reps. So,
There you go.
and I know the record's 6. So, I mean, we could see 7, maybe even 8 if necessary by a couple of the guys doing the shows, just whether or not
Big time.
they want or need to go that hard. So that'll be the
Exactly.
big question on that.
Exactly. And then even with that, Atlas Stones is, where it gets finished at for World's Strongest Man. And,
Yeah. And that's
at that,
same old,
that
same
heavy
old.
stone. Yeah.
It's just having and that's the thing. After pulling 880 for however many reps, so I would train that way. I would deadlift and like max reps at that point for
Yep.
that type of weight. Like I think
Yeah.
my best is 805 for 6.
Yeah.
And so I would probably do something like that and then turn around and go train the stones as best I could, like an hour after that. Because that's what it'll be. You'll get like an hour break in between, hour
Yeah.
break or 2 hour break in between events, maybe even 3 hour break,
Yeah.
depending on how fast they're setting up and stuff.
Yep.
So I would definitely do, and I would train my events that way too, by the way.
Yeah.
Because they usually go 9, 12, and 3 for the events. So I would
Yeah.
do my first event that day at 9, I do the next one at 12, and I do the last one at 3. That's how you're going to compete. It's a good idea to know what you're in for and train that way, at
Yep.
least the last 6 weeks. So but that's just my opinion. But I usually came in and I didn't fade in contests.
Yeah.
Other guys would fade in contests. I knew my body knew what was going on. I knew what I had to do, and I just went and did it. So, there wasn't a whole lot of times like got to the last event and I had nothing left in me. I always had plenty left in me. It's just whether I was injured or not. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that covered quite a bit, you know what I'm saying? And what
yeah.
would the food be looking like during prep and then during contest?
Well, during prep, I mean, during prep, you're eating until you're full every time you eat, and you're going to eat
Yeah.
good, solid food as much as you can. Anything that's going to slow down your digestion or your healing process is out. Anything, you know, anything that's going to be a drain on your system is out.
Yeah.
Anything your body doesn't agree with is out.
Yeah.
Contest day, coming in and competing contest week. When you get to Worlds, anything that's not piping hot, I would not eat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat any salads there. I wouldn't even have any salad dressing. There's
Yeah.
nothing that's cold or raw I'd be having unless it was like a protein bar or something like that. I would always make sure my food was super hot because the last thing you want to get is the runs when you get up there. So you don't want to eat
Yeah.
anything that could possibly, um,
Possibly
you know,
make you sick.
yeah, you
Yeah. So
just don't
that
want to do
means
that.
avoid strange foods and don't be
Yeah,
experimental.
boy, did we learn that in China. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, all of us had the runs. All of us lost like 20 pounds during that contest. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so food does play a very big thing. So I mean, if your regular diet though is used to you're eating a salad and then you're going on through that stuff, I would ditch the salad and the salad dressing and all that stuff, or anything that's not, like I said, piping hot when you get to it.
Yeah.
Things that are going to be really easy for you to digest and get calories in, high calorie foods while you're doing it. So in
Yeah.
between, like if you're having some peanut butter with some chocolate, stuff like that, just kind of like mix them together to get calories. And peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
I would have a boatload of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
There you go.
Rice Krispie treats. All the stuff that like Nathan Payton does for the guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's, I mean, all you have to do is sit there and watch. You'll see what's going on. You might not have the thing to test your blood with,
Yeah.
but you can see what's going on and you can mimic a lot of that stuff, and it'll still maybe not quite as successful, but you'll still do okay. Because
Yeah.
I mean that dude's a performance genius. I'm going to tell you that right now.
That he is.
So
and that's the thing too, is like, like this is just a little look on the what to do,
yeah,
what to
and then
prepare for,
the
the
biggest,
mindset.
yeah, it's the mindset, and then it's also knowing how to turn it on and turn it off. That's like
Yeah.
the biggest thing with the younger guys is once it's on, and and they're so hyped to be there, and all this stuff's going on. They got to learn how to stay calm and shut it off. Be like,
Yeah.
okay, I just competed. My next event's in 3 hours. All right, first thing I need to do is go eat.
Yes.
Go get food in me. Go get liquids in me. Okay. And then throughout the whole rest of that time, keep taking in liquids and food. That's where like some of the high calorie drinks and, the intrafuels and stuff like that,
Yeah.
play a part, because you still get, and the protein drinks and stuff like that don't
Mhm.
bother your stomach, come into
Yeah.
play after you eat. Because
Yeah.
you got to keep taking in fluids, and because
Yeah.
you're going to be sweating like crazy doing this.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
don't know what the
the
weather's
good.
going to be like.
Yep.
So,
Just about to say.
South Carolina could be really warm, or it could be rainy and cold and windy and everything
Yep.
else. You just don't know what the weather's going to be. So you got to plan for both.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And with World's Strongest Man right around the corner, you know what I'm saying? That's a little peek behind the
Mm-hmm.
curtains
Yeah.
on,
So,
what a professional would do.
yeah. And I mean, I would have like 7 different types of tacky.
Yeah.
I'd go from cold weather to extremely hot weather, because, like, literally, you're going there and it could be either
Yeah.
at any given time. So I would have that many different forms of tacky. I would have every type of shoe in my kit. I'd even have a pair of cleats in my kit, because you
There
never
you
know if
go.
you're going to be, you might need them either running on the sand or running on grass. You don't know. We've had times where, oh, by the way, here's the Medley. It's on grass. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So be ready for whatever, your truck climbing, rock climbing shoes for the truck pull. Whatever you squat in, I'd have some of those. I'd have some, Olympic shoes with the wedges in
Yep.
them. Because you just never know when you're going to need it. Power stairs, that's a great thing to do for power stairs.
Hmm.
Might not be super comfortable for the farmer's walk, but who cares if it helps you on the power stairs to where your feet don't have to be all the way on the stair, and yet you get all that pressure into the platform, because the wood shoe, that makes a difference.
Yep.
So little things like that can go a long way. And so what if you bring a big suitcase? Bring your own pillow too, by the way.
There you go.
Bring your own pillow. It helps you sleep so much better. It really does.
There you
And
go.
I would use to sleep, I would use bring an extra black t-shirt with you. And then, especially if you got a CPAP and stuff, you can just lay it right across your eyes. It won't be, won't put a whole bunch of pressure on your face. It won't affect your breathing, but it'll make as black as midnight, and you'll be able to sleep, which helps. That makes a big deal. Because if you
That it
get there and
does.
you're all wound up and you don't sleep for 4 days, you're not going to perform very good. So it's having the ability to calm yourself, to meditate, to slow things down, to rehearse the contest in your head a few times, and then turn it off. So stop, chill out, play some cards, do some solitary, talk to some of the guys, but don't expend a lot of energy. Make sure you have a set bedtime for that night,
Hmm.
stuff like that, and stick to it hard. And if you lay down and you can't sleep, just lay there and close your eyes and start meditating and focusing on a spot right here in your head, and you'll eventually fall asleep.
Yep.
So, and then just relax, breathe in, breathe out, control your breathing, and settle things down, because you get a good night's sleep, especially going into those third and fourth days. It's going to be a big deal. It'll help a
That's
lot.
it.
So,
Well,
all
I
right.
think we covered quite a bit.
Yep, we did.
Oh yeah.
Hope you guys liked it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Um,
so everybody, this, remember, join the Patreon. It really helps
mhm.
us out. It assists us in doing these things,
Yeah,
and
it keeps
you
us
get.
going, keeps us doing things. Um, and then I'll reach out and we'll get some more guests on. I'm going to pull a bunch of people in from different like things as well.
Yeah,
Maybe some people from the gun industry, maybe some people from health and fitness, bodybuilding, stuff like that. We'll be getting more people
exactly.
on so that we can
We
talk
should
to
try
them.
to get Nathan Pathan on here. You know what I'm saying? You should
Yeah, we
reach out,
should.
and we should, yeah, and then try to
Okay.
see if we can come on, and especially if
I'll
we can get
send
him on
Nathan
a
a
week
text.
before. Yeah, send him a
Yeah.
text, because if we get him on next week, that'd be
Mhm.
great, because then we can actually get that understanding of like what he has to prepare for. Because like he said, he's at these events. He's
Oh
by the
man.
side. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
he's with the guys the whole time. So he's back
yeah,
there juggling guys around,
yep,
because he's got like 4 or 5, 6 of them now. So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
But
So go
their
on, Nick. Take us
performances
on
say a
out.
lot.
Oh yeah,
All right. Well, if you
Exactly.
like this, please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate you so much, and without you guys, we can't do this. And as always, train hard, train smart, and be the best that you can be. Because in the end of the day, that's all you can really do anyway. Go out and have a great one.
You're listening to the best experience